There's been many mysteries throughout Five Nights at Freddy's. Some as big as trying to uncover characters' names, and some as small as just finding linking events, or where characters originated from. One mystery and a pretty big talking point when it comes to the history of Freddy's in-game is of a location known as Chica's Party World. First mentioned as a location in a source code hint for sister location, and never again, it became a source of speculation, often theorized as being the location that housed the missing Funtime Chica, especially after Funtime Chica was revealed. But all that theorizing hinged off of a name alone. What was Chica's Party World? What was it like? Was it connected to why Chica wasn't in sister location? Was it connected to Circus Baby's Pizza World, a similarly named pizzeria? Well, now because of Secret of the Mimic, we know the whole deal, and what a deal it was. For example, it doesn't seem like it was a spin-off Chica chain at all, but instead perhaps where the character of Chica the Chicken originated from before being a fixture in the Freddy Fazbear's band. Welcome to Chica's Party World, where Chica is the hen of the house.
Looking for a groovy place to boogie? Roll on down to Chica's Party World. Chica's craving burgers, fries, cupcakes, and more. Bring the whole family and meet Chica in person.
So first off, Chica's Party World wasn't just your traditional family sit-and-eat restaurant. It had a roller skating rink where you could rent skates and circle under a disco ball, and arcade machines galore, making it a more versatile entertainment location compared to even the Freddy's that came after it. They also served plenty of food, such as the chicken burger, French fries, made with potatoes, mind you, cupcakes decorated like her cupcake, and even the earliest version of the Chica Chowder. And likely more. This is just what's shown on the advertisements and on posters. We also find Chica's cheesy chips throughout the factory. Unlike many of the snacks around Murray's, the MCM logo cannot be found anywhere on the bag, so it's possible that these are owned exclusively by Chica's Party World, but are perhaps produced here, as MCM is already producing their own foodstuff, such as just cereal and some of the other candies. The restaurant even had a membership program with paper cards where you could get unknown perks from collecting little stickers on repeat visits, likely culminating in a free pizza or visit, and maybe like a discount on fries, cupcakes, nachos, and cookies, if they had them. We know they at least had 2 of them. The mascot of the diner was Chica herself, this design being much more rounded and plump, with pink roller skates to match the roller rink aesthetic. She is accompanied by a slew of skating snacks, such as her cupcake, referred to twice in Secret of the Mimic as just the birthday cake, a bucket of chicken, a burger, and the world's most startled milkshake. I think she's supposed to look cold, but she just looks frightened. Considering her companions, chicken buckets and milkshakes are likely also served at the establishment. But Chica's soft, approachable design came from a familiar source, Murray's costume manor itself, and Fiona Murray, the co-owner and wife of Edwin Murray. It should be noted that Fiona likely designed a lot of the characters we've seen throughout Five Nights at Freddy's. In-game, it sort of suggested that some of the characters could have been inspired by a storybook built for David, one that contained a randomized story about a bear, a bunny, a chicken, a fox, a dog, and a gator. So it's possible she designed the earliest iterations of those characters, like Jugband Monty and Bub the dog, for example. So Chica's Party World was either opening its location fresh or under a rebrand when it accepted and used one of Fiona's designs to be their Chica. They were very happy with this design. The restaurant didn't plan to stop there though. They also wanted a mascot suit so that the kids could have meet and greets with Chica herself. So they commissioned Edwin, and he was eager to provide. He went through a few models that can be seen on blueprints hidden in the admin wing, many resembling the final build, one with little duck-like chick sidekicks and a skirt, and one with a very pointy stork-like look that was noticeably a little hard on the eyes. but he finally settled on a design that is more chicken accurate. Known as Party Time Chica, this Chica had feathery wings and around their neck, a pinkish beak, and unfocused wall eyes, which, due to their small size and their large dark eye sockets, give them a sort of sunken-in appearance that almost resembles her classic design, but a little more intensely. She has feathers around her eyes, on her head, and even has little yellow eyebrows as well. She wears a party time apron and pink roller skates that are all pink instead of the pink and white ones shown in some of her marketing material. She also has orange tube-like legs, big enough for a person to fit inside, of course. Chica looks a little intimidating, leagues better than her original drafts, but much creepier than the Chica's Party World cartoon design. In fact, it's kind of weird how different she is to that design, looking a lot more narrow in the face, and the eyes were a choice. Milton, one of Edwin's higher-up workers who often speaks to the staff on his behalf, well, at least about the compulsive door code changes, writes to him, "Dear Mr. Murray, Fiona is amazing. The client is very happy with her chicken designs. Their sales are through the roof. I just wish the costume looked a little bit more like Fiona's art. I'm worried about how it will work with kids. Gives me nightmares. Milton." Now here's the thing. Milton speaks about Fiona as though she is still alive. And yet here, these years later, the Chica mascot is still sitting in the warehouse. Is this a backup suit? An extra suit to be sent to a new location? Or is this the only Chica mascot and for some reason it was never sent to Chica's Party World? Maybe because they weren't impressed with the design. And knowing Edwin, Mr. Move on to the next project, he didn't fix it, he just left it there to molder. Well, the admin wing is full of Chica promotional material, and the ad has her in it, so it's possible that either Murray's made this commercial, and this was really their last big project before things went south, or there were two costumes. Maybe there was another Chica's Party World opening. It doesn't really matter, but it is food for thought. The long and short of it is that Milton was right. This Party Time Chica is going to scare kids. But a lot of Edwin's mascots seem to share that. If only he could have fixed the face, given her those rounded cheeks and a smaller beak, it would have worked wonders. Because the Party Time Chica Arnold runs across is nothing short of disturbing. Party Time Chica appears in Secret of the Mimic as what is sort of the fourth boss, or something like it. She is at least the mascot with the biggest focus, not counting the white tiger who acts very much like a paranormal threat. She's at least important enough to be featured in the Moon.exe game alongside Jackie, Big Top, and Dolly. Arnold first runs into Party Time Chica while heading through the large central warehouse on his way to Murray's executive office. As he enters the warehouse, Party Time Chica bursts out of her special party crate like an ogre out of an outhouse and begins to skate around searching for you. The crate is actually really cute. It's pink with a disco ball on top, and it plays the song from the Chica's Party World ad. No clue how Mimic got in it, though. Party Time Chica glides her way around the packed warehouse looking for you. She'll stop occasionally, usually when she's planning on turning around, and does a cute little shuffle dance in place before sauntering off. But what's creepy and actually a little comical if you think about it, is if you alert her at all, she'll drop the smooth skating and dancing and frantically hobble skate in your direction. And then she'll just keep doing that. She won't go back to dancing, she'll drop the act entirely. And I think she might be faster like this, but that you can hear her a little better, though maybe not. It's funny. It's almost like you see the moment when the Mimic falls out of character, because Chica can sway, she can dance, she gets around as easy as warmed exotic butter smoothed out on toast. But then Mimic takes over and yeah, he can barely skate. It's like he suddenly forgets he's skating and tries to run on them and is then just struggling to not fall over. Like he's never skated before in his life. It's downright goofy and, like I said, a little creepy. The desperation can surely send a couple of chills down your spine. If Secret of the Mimic gives us any direct characterization for the Mimic, though, it's that he's aggressive, vindictive, and a little bit of a klutz. Chica's patterns, however, are pretty unique. Unlike the mascots who patrol in a somewhat random fashion, and like the unfinished Freddy's amalgam that has a set pattern for the most part, Party Time Chica actually changes her routine to her route to include opened up areas when you open gates, making it harder to predict her movement. Sort of like how Dolly moves along in her level, but it does mean that you have to keep a close eye on Chica. Because whereas Dolly will eventually move into the doll hospital and just be settled in there, Chica's just gonna keep circling around. Well, for a while. For example, once you finish the power puzzle to open the gate to the door out, Chica will start camping the gate. She'll just circle around the center, and you really have to lure her away by a cutout or a mouse just to get by. Because she will continuously go back to the gate. But once you make it to the parade floats room, she can't reach you any further. Or so you think, because while you're nearly getting crushed by giant float feet, Party Time Chica gets herself into the admin wing and sets up a devious trap. The admin wing is cramped and filled with walls of stuff, possibly blocked off by her, but also equally likely to have been left there when the workers were kicked out, making it necessary to weave through a maze of cubicles. And scattered throughout those cubicles are the roller skate wearing cupcakes that belong to Chica. These cupcakes will look for any sign of intruders, and if you get too close, they'll start alerting to your presence with a frantic little dance. And Chica will hobble her way over to see. Because yes, as expected, Chica is here circling the admin wing, looking to catch you. She'll even break through a wall of junk to catch up once you make it around that towards the stairs. You'll know you're getting close to alerting the cupcakes when they stop looking around and instead look directly at you. And if you get even closer while they're alerting, they can actually jump scare you by hopping up and, I assume, stabbing you with their candle. But through the admin wing you go, and then it's upstairs to Murray's office, where past some really nice leather furniture and a really creepy decapitated unicorn, maybe off of a carousel that caught on fire and killed Fiona. And behind a bookshelf, we find a secret camera room where Edwin is hiding the schematics for the Mimic. You collect them and turn to leave, but there's Party Time Chica waiting for you down the hallway. She races down the hallway to catch you, but it's not really much to be concerned about. You just pull a lever, shuts the door, get into the vent, and that's the end of Party Time Chica. Mimic leaves the mascot and it's left somewhere. And then probably burns in the fire depending on the ending. Like I said previously, due to the length of time that Party Time Chica is presented, she basically is the fourth boss. Not just a mere mascot that Mimic cycles through, but one that he gets in and stays in for a good while. She's also a good deal faster than them. She leaves quite an impression and has a good chunk of lore relevance with her tie-in to Chica's party world. So it's a really good showing. But speaking of the restaurant, let's return to the topic now that we've covered the mascot in full. Like I said, we're not entirely sure of the situation whether or not Chica's party world got the mascot, but considering that they seem to be pretty successful, likely even if they didn't, they would have been fine. It's never really made entirely clear who owned the place, and I could levy two guesses. One, it was always part of Freddy's, as just a side chain. That's very possible. Or two, Chica's party world was a separate food chain that was bought out by Freddy's. During Secret of the Mimic, we watch firsthand as Edwin's company is sabotaged and overtaken by Fazbear Entertainment, with the intention to rehire him on as a worker and continue business as usual. The same thing could have happened with Chica's party world, and we'd be none the wiser. In fact, as of Secret of the Mimic, it might have not happened yet, though seeing as the Chica animatronic is in development for the new Freddy's in the Research and Development Department basement, it's likely that she's already become a Freddy's character, whether that be partial ownership or full. We're not sure what happens next, as the information following Chica's party world past this point is virtually non-existent. It's one line. So what happened to the restaurant? Well, taking what we learned here, we can make some pretty educated guesses. From the source code hint in sister location, the one that started everything, we know the business was still open at the time of that game, though in all likelihood they were fully owned by Fazbear Entertainment at that point. And due to their connection with Afton Robotics and Circus Babies Rentals, it's very likely that they were one of the businesses that the Fun Times were either briefly or frequently rented out to. In fact, if we think about it, the popular theory that Funtime Chica was involved in Chica's Party World might still have some weight, because this would be years later and it would still be the same company involved. Their involvement might have been providing Chica's Party World with a Funtime Chica animatronic, finally giving them a mascot or an updated one. But again, we don't know. Though there is something interesting to note, but it's the weird connections between Chica and Baby. So Chica had Chica's Party World. Baby had Circus Baby's Pizza World, a name that William, no doubt, stole on his crusade to steal and repurpose all of Edwin's work. But what's neat to think about is that Chica originally had roller skates, and the only other animatronic with them, Scrap Baby. Probably just a coincidence, but it's a neat one. Maybe it's like a sort of reverse callback. But what happened to Chica's Party World after this? Well, we don't know, but I think that might answer the question itself. What do I mean? Well, let's take a look at the Mega Pizzaplex. It has the snack space, it has L Chips, it has all sorts of eateries, including Chica's Cupcake Shop. But absolutely no mention of Chica's Party World, nor even so much as a kiosk devoted to it. If it was still a Freddy's property, you would think that it would be here, especially since it's not like a problem with brand image clashing, since Bonnie Bull's Bonnie looks nothing like Glamrock Bonnie. But it's not. I'm going to levy a guess, and it could very well be wrong since it's backed up by a total lack of evidence. But maybe by the time of the Pizzaplex, maybe Chica's Party World has possibly been retired. I mean, it may still exist, but if it did, I find it weird that it wouldn't be featured here, especially since the Pizzaplex is touting a bunch of various Chica chowdas, something that we saw prominently on the Party World menu. Basically, the idea I'm putting out there is that Fazbear Entertainment absorbed the company, kept it around for a while, and then it closed, or was closed, to make way for their new establishment types. Big entertainment malls made to milk the consumer. Then Chica's Party World was seen as outdated and left behind with the old Freddy's that had all those mean and nasty rumors. And that's not even considering the possibility that something bad might have gone down at Chica's Party World, especially considering the fact that it was connected to Circus Babies. Or that Chica's Party World was being rebranded to Circus Babies Pizza World and the whole thing fell through. But who knows? I certainly don't, but what we do know now is what Chica's Party World was. A fixture of the 70s. A place where you could roller skate, stuff your face with food, and grease up a bunch of arcade buttons with your fried chicken hands. All led not by Freddy, but Chica, a soft and friendly face, until she really wasn't. But it's really neat seeing Chica like this, seeing her stand on her own. Once the characters got involved with Freddy's band, they all kind of sort of fell on the wayside, behind the bear himself. But it's clear that Chica's face would have sold a business on its own. And it seemed very successful, even outdoing Freddy's in many ways. Secret of the Mimic really did well for Chica. Out of all the characters it showed histories of, Chica's was the one who was most expanded. She was a character who got featured a lot through the mascot. She's the one mascot who the Mimic really utilized. And we finally got the answer to this long-standing mystery, one that wasn't really big but does contribute to the world building significantly, which I always appreciate. Feeding into the greater story surrounding Freddy, the characters, and the business as a whole. Chica's Party World is gone but not forgotten, especially now that we know what the heck it was. And that was worth the trip down memory lane. Thank you for watching.